lending a hand to every heart and soul. Hopeful, trying to be helpful. Come join in, let us serve without reserve. This is the great adventure.
Where does the story start? Well, that depends on who's telling it, I suppose. So if nobody minds, I'll start my part of it where it started for me. It was the time of the occupation. In my country, we had learned to keep our eyes open and our mouths shut. I was proud when some of our leading landsmen made me their lookout. I thought then he was on to us. Reapin Singing Society. It was our little joke on the invaders. The reapin is a bird that doesn't sing. Our hearts were in our throats. Then, without a word, he turned and walked out. Our meetings were not bothered again. Much later we learned, back home he was a Rotarian. He had guessed, as no doubt you have by now, that the Reapin Singing Society was in reality the weekly meeting of my town's Rotary Club. But that was some years ago. The same club today is sponsoring my year's study over here.
That's interesting.
Fine, I gotta hand it to you, blokes. You had it rough.
Well, I guess nobody was having a picnic.
Dear,
Yes.
Larry's here.
Oh, hi, Doc. Fine. Hope I'm not interrupting anything.
No, you're not interrupting a thing. Oh, I want you to meet some people in. Mina Chowdhury, this is Mr. Matheson.
Miss Chowdhury?
Larry runs the music shop down on Main Street.
Namaste, Mr. Matheson.
And this is Mario de Castelvira.
Delighted to meet you.
How do you do?
And here we have Angus McLaren.
Angus?
Water, I got him to wear his kilts today.
It was not difficult. Nice to know you.
And this is Gunnar Hansen.
Gunnar?
I'm sorry you missed his story.
Well, so am I.
And this is Don Cheadle.
Don,
Nice to meet you.
Nice to know you.
And this is Ty Gonzaki.
Happy to meet you. Oh, happy to meet you, too.
Ty has just come to this country. You see, they all attend school around here except Angus and Don. Angus attends a Canadian university, and Don is on his way home to Australia after studying in Germany.
Oh, exchange students.
Well, in a way, yes, except that these are Rotary Foundation fellows.
There's a difference?
Oh, yes, quite a difference. You see, each one of these young people was sponsored for the Rotary Foundation Fellowship for advanced study by the Rotary Club in his or her hometown, whether it's...
Calcutta.
Sao Paulo?
Osaka.
and so on and so on. They come from all over the world, the same as clubs in this country sponsor students to study in other countries. Now, when I've got a new item here for my trophy collection. Mario brought me a Brazilian lasso.
Well, what's it made of?
Braided cowhide. He's going to teach me to twirl it.
You know what gets me? They all speak such good English.
Well, that's one of the requirements. They must first have a working knowledge of the language of the country they want to study. And wherever they go, a Rotary Club there looks after them.
I'm beginning to see the difference.
Education is important, but there is more to it than that. We invite these young people into our homes. We get close to them. We want our students to get an intimate knowledge of the country where they study, a sympathetic understanding of its people.
That's wonderful.
Let's get in on this.
What's the one about the bee and the elephant?
And the lotus flower. It goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a little bee roaming near the lake. In this lake was a beautiful lotus flower. Coming to the lake to drink water was a deer. In the water was a fish. Now coming back to the little bee, seeing the lotus, thinking what a wonderful feast of honey. And so he drank and he drank, and full of honey, he fell asleep in the lotus flower. Suddenly, an elephant came to the lake to drink water. And while drinking, swallowed the lotus and the bee. That's the end of the little bee.
One more, come on, one more.
Oh, very well. One more for our host. A true story. My country, like yours, has its good and bad. We have some of the most beautiful buildings in the world and wonderful cities of beauty, commerce, and culture. But unhappily, we also have places pitifully poor. Near where I live is a village. Down the middle of the street was an open sewer. There was much sickness, but no hospital. Much ignorance, but no school. Then one day, a man from a nearby Rotary Club came. He studied conditions. He made notes and sketches. He assembled a doctor, an engineer, and a building contractor, all Rotarians. The villagers helped do the work. You should see the change. The running sewers have been drained. The streets are dry and clean. The housewives have been shown how to make a simple home cooler that will keep butter and vegetables fresh for days. They built a hospital and a schoolhouse. They even built a cinema. So that's the story of Rotary to me.
Wonderful, but a movie theater, that's really something.
Yes, most of those people had never seen a film. Yet my India makes the most pictures of any country, next to Hollywood.
I had no idea.
Now my people too can know what the rest of the world is like.
Hadn't you better look at the turkey, dear?
Coming right up. Thank you very much, Mina.
Thank you. Okay. I'm a little confused, Doc. What does a Rotary Club do?
Well, it isn't what we do as a club. It's what Rotary does to us.
I don't get it.
Well, let me explain it to you. Rotary develops a spirit in the individual member to make him go out and want to do something for somebody else. We don't care where he does it or who gets the credit. You see, Rotary is not a chamber of commerce. Yet, wherever there's a Rotary Club, well, the chamber becomes more active. Rotary is not a civic improvement society, but wherever there's a Rotary Club, there's a more beautiful city. Rotary is not a religious organization, but it encourages men to become better members of their church. Once a man catches the vision of service, he'll find a place to serve. It may be in his own business.
I know a man like that. In Brazil.
Oh, the man I was thinking of lives in Chicago. Years ago, he was put in charge of a company making aluminum cooking utensils. It was one of the smaller companies and on the verge of bankruptcy. One day, he was showing a friend through the plant.
That's supposed to be hollow when it's done?
Yeah. Looks pretty solid to me. Those are the rises, you see. There's one coming out. The rises will be cut off afterwards. Oh, we know it'll come out all right because our pattern's right. There's one thing I've been thinking about. Between you and me, our competitors make as good a product as we do. And they've got more money to advertise. I've decided the only way we can compete is on character, our dependability. Come in the office. I've drawn up a 4-way pattern to test everything we think and say and do. I've been using it on myself first. Every letter I write, every ad I okay, I ask myself these 4 things. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I tell you, John, when you start checking everything you do those 4 ways, you'd be surprised how many things you change.
Today, that firm has become the most successful in its field. That Rotarian's 4-way test has been taken by Rotary clubs all over the world.
In my country, it's called a prova quadrupla. I saw it in a factory making poncho palas. It too was going bankrupt. Till the boss rebuilt the business on this same 4-way test. Now, instead of being out of work, the workers have good jobs and good homes with low rent. Medical service, schools, cafeterias, and playgrounds for their children. We have a great respect for Rotary in South America. One day, an old lady came up to a man who was wearing a button, like the one Dr. Grayson has in his lookout, and said, I see you are a Rotarian. What do you know about Rotary, he asked. I know nothing, she said, except where Rotary is. There is always a better community.
That's amazing.
It's one of the first lessons you learn.
Excuse, please. Could I tell one I know?
Oh, please,
Go right ahead, Ty. Go right ahead.
Japan is a country of sudden storms. A man may leave his home in bright sun and return wet with rain. Rotary Club wish to do something good for community. At railroad station, they leave hundreds of umbrellas with sign, use umbrellas free, bring back tomorrow. Courtesy of Rotary Club.
Do they bring many back?
Oh, of course. On each is printed same 4-way test. My people, too, want to be fair to all concerned. We hang the rules in our stores. We teach them in our schools.
Yes, but to print them on umbrellas, that really takes the cake, eh, Larry?
You know something, Doc? I've got to revise some of my pet thinking. No offense, fellas, but I've more or less pitied people in other countries. So provincial. But I guess I'm the one that's provincial. I never dreamed of all these things going on in the world.
I know what you mean. I felt exactly the same way the year I attended the International Assembly.
International Assembly, you mean the United Nations?
No, not the United Nations. The Rotary International. Although it looks like a meeting of the General Assembly. We use the same translation system through earphones. Only instead of seating the delegates by countries, as at the United Nations, we mix them up so they get better acquainted. Sometimes we have far more countries represented than in the United Nations.
Well.
Yes, sir. Every year, more than 200 incoming district governors gather from all over the world for a week of further intensive training in Rotary. And many of them bring their wives and children. Now, here is a unique opportunity for people of many nations, influential citizens in their own countries, to work together, to get intimately acquainted. We eat together, we talk together, we stroll along the lake. Best of all, we find out that no matter where a man is from, Uruguay, India, Japan, the Philippines, or the United States, he's just another person. Like you and me, with the same hopes, the same ideals, the same ambitions.
That's fine for the leaders.
The leaders? Are the others? All Rotarians have their innings at the annual conventions. They come together and mingle, thousands of them from all over the world. They renew acquaintances, get new inspiration.
Where do you do this?
Oh, a different city each year to give the members in different countries a chance. We've met in Paris, San Francisco, Mexico City, Chicago, Edinburgh, Austin, Toronto, Vienna, Rio de Janeiro, Seattle, Nice, Havana. I don't remember them all. But we had an awfully good time.
Dear?
Yes.
Will you start carving the turkey now?
Surely. Are you any good at carving?
Well, I'm a good carving superintendent.
Oh, come along.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Doctor, your wife has commandeered me to mix the salad.
Dorothy is certainly wonderful at organizing people to work.
She's the wife of a Rotarian.
Yeah, she's real homely, isn't she?
That's his peculiar way of saying she's real homey.
Yeah, and she makes everyone else feel at home. You know, this reminds me of something our Prime Minister once said. Australia, he said, is like a big bowl. It's so big and empty. Of course, it's difficult for you to visualize in this country where people and even towns are crowded together. But we live in bunches, mostly around the rim of Australia. The whole center part is empty. Nothing much there but kangaroos. Oh, it's a bonza country, as some DPs are discovering. It's a beaut spot for spine bashing. But DPs are shy, too, like the roos. It isn't quite so simple mixing strangers like a salad. It's no fun being a displaced person. And some people didn't exactly rush to welcome them. And then one of the Rotary clubs, Essendon I think it was, got the idea to call these refugees New Australians. Everybody liked that, and they made it official. And then all Australians were eager to welcome them. You know, it's amazing the difference that one man's idea made in the lives of so many people.
I'm continually struck by the fact that Rotary means something different to everybody here. Was it supposed to be like that?
Yes. How did Rotary get started?
Well, to understand that, you'd have to know what the world was like in 1905. People lived more to themselves. There weren't so many ways of communication and transportation. A young lawyer in Chicago by the name of Paul Harris, alone in a big city, being a friendly soul, wanted to make new friends. He thought maybe others might feel the same. Why not find out? And while he was at it, why not pick out leaders of different businesses? That way each would get to know more about other trades besides their own. He called on a coal dealer. Then a mining engineer. A merchant tailor. They all liked the idea. They were joined by a printer and a real estate dealer. This was the first Rotary Club, so-called because they met around at different members' places of business. Other localities heard about it and wanted to do the same. Meetings at different places was soon abandoned. But the original idea of membership for business and professions remained the same. The rule of classification.
You mean that no two druggists or two anything can belong to the same club?
Yes, that's substantially true. Only one from each business or profession. That makes Rotary the true cross-section of the industrial and professional life of the community. See, fellowship is based on diversity of interest instead of similarity.
Doesn't that keep a lot of good men out?
Yes, but all good men are not in Rotary. You know, a lot of them belong to other clubs like the Kiwanis, the Lions, the Exchange, and so forth.
Oh, I see. You're competitors.
Oh, no, we're not competitors. But Rotary welcomes and applauds every one of them. You know, there's a lot of service to be done in this little old world of ours. By every one of us.
Why haven't I heard about this before?
Oh, we don't broadcast these things. We frequently work with somebody else. And they deserve as much credit as we do.
Like how?
Well, for instance, there are 6 Boy Scout troops in our town. There's the Y Troop, there's the St. Patrick's Troop, the Odd Fellows Troop, the Baptist Troop, the Civitan Clubs, and Rotaries. We actually only sponsor one of them. But the Odd Fellows and the Baptists all were sparked by the Rotarians who belong there.
Oh, I see.
You know, there are many individuals who do things that even the members of their own clubs don't know anything about. I just discovered that a member of our club spent a whole year in a polio ward every Sunday afternoon helping the kids with their stamp collection. He wanted to do something. Stamps were his hobby. So he figured out his own form of youth service without telling anybody about it.
One thing I learned in Canada.
Yes, Angus?
I know you peg different kinds of service. Community, international, young people, vocational. But it's aye difficult to keep a good thing in bounds. A man in Tennessee, a Rotarian, wanted to do something for boys. The thing he knew best was forestry. So he proposed his club help him organize junior foresters. It was not only wonderful youth service, it turned out to be first-rate community service. It saved a lot of valuable trees and helped soil conservation. But that's no all. The story was written up in the Rotarian magazine. 250,000 copies went round the world. One of them landed in a displaced persons camp. Formerly, 7 of the refugees were Rotarians from Czechoslovakia. They met every week and put on programs to keep Rotary alive. This day, the forestry article was the program. For one of the prisoners, it was a new hope. He wrote the Rotarian in Tennessee, said he had lost everything. If he ever got out of the camp alive, his greatest desire was to get to the new world and start over.
Did he ever get out?
Ah, he did that. The forestry man tried to get him into the United States, but the quota was full. So he wrote to a Rotarian in Canada. There, foresters were needed, and that Rotarian paved the way to the new world. That's where I met him and heard the tale. So what started out as youth service in a small town in Tennessee spread out through community service to vocational service till it ended up in international service. As Robbie Burns once said, you cannot tell when you toss a pebble how far the waves you start are like to go.
I wonder...
You wonder what?
Thank you, Angus. Thank you.
Will you excuse us? Oh, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just got a wild idea.
Yeah?
You see, I've collected quite a stock of used instruments. Old rentals, trade-ins. Good enough to be used, but not good enough to sell as new.
So?
You've been reading about the North Side, folks complaining about the boys hanging around the street corners.
Yes.
Now, if someone would organize them into a band or something, get them interested in music, takes hours of practice and band rehearsals, and you can't do that on a street corner.
That's true. It's an old problem. I know a bunch of boys, not really bad, but not really good.
Here now, boys. Boys. Stop there. Boys. Don't fight. Boys.
More mischievous than anything else. It's because they had nothing else to do. That mischief may have led to something worse if it hadn't been for Tom Traxler. With the aid of the local Rotary Club, they formed the Boys Club. The energy that went into swiping apples, breaking windows, and so forth is now worked off in organized athletics. Now, if somebody could reach the gang you were talking about...
Well, I don't know enough about music to teach it, but Andy Purdham's in your club.
Yes.
Well, he used to teach. Now, if he'd be willing to train those kids a couple of nights a week, I'd donate the instruments and... What are you laughing at?
I'm not laughing. I'm just smiling at the birth of a Rotarian.
Huh?
There's a saying that you have to be a Rotarian to understand Rotary. That isn't always true. I think the spirit of Rotary can be caught as well as taught. And you've caught it, Larry. Now, why don't you and Andy get together and work out the details? Then both of you can present your ideas to the youth committee of the club. We'll give you all the help you need. Angus is explaining the Highland Fling.
Of course, you know, the real Highland dancers do a much better job than I did.
Angus, let you and me do a Highland Fling together.
You know, Larry, there's hope in action. Young people from every continent on the globe. Almost as many concepts of government. At least 4 different religions. But they've gotten together.
As simple as that.
Yes. Isn't that better than sending young men out? The young men of any country to settle our differences the way we've done repeatedly in our lifetime? The greatest single blessing the human heart can know on this earth is world peace. Of course, that's only a handful.
Would you like some community singing? Oh, yes. Do you know The Great Adventure?
Of
course. Come on, let's sing it.
Multiply this scene.
Now let's try.
And it is being multiplied in countries the world around. Multiply it often enough, Larry, and you've done it. Meanwhile, more than 400,000 Rotarians in more than 8,000 towns around the world have accepted the principle of individual responsibility and dedicated themselves to creating a better world. In the words of our motto, service above self. He profits most who serves best. To us, that is the great adventure.
There is great satisfaction doing what they do. Forward on they go, for they're sure they know the future will be bright. He profits most who serves the best, for there's power in the right. They're men of Rotary, men who believe they will achieve their goal. They're one big family, lending a hand to every heart and soul. Hopeful, hopeful, trying to be helpful. Come join in, let us serve without reserve. This is the great